Hi, my name is Whitney Blaine, and this is Scott Wolf, and we're for the USC Report. So Scott, tell me, what did you think of the Virginia game?
Well, I really wasn't impressed with the Virginia game. I'm kind of wondering at this point, what is USC's identity as a football team? Offensively, they really were not impressive. They struggled a lot. And even though Lane Kiffin said he was happy with the defense and Monty Kiffin said the defense improved, I have a lot of questions about the defense right now. I didn't like the way they pursued the ball in that game. I didn't think they were real physical. I really think the defensive line, considering the hype they got going into the season, has not lived up to expectations at all. And I don't really know right now what this team's identity is. You know, they've won 2 games and they've slipped in the AP poll every week with a win. So I don't know what they're really good at.
The teams, I mean, Virginia, no offense to Virginia and Hawaii, but I mean, you know, those wins were probably not as impressive as other matchups, like, you know, Michigan and Notre Dame. But you don't think the defense improved a little bit?
Well, let me just say this. When you play a bad team, you got to dominate them if you're a good team for 4 quarters. And USC didn't do that against Hawaii. And they definitely didn't dominate Virginia at any point in the game. So I think that's why they're slipping. I think the defense played better than against Hawaii, but Hawaii ran a spread offense. Virginia rushed for 150 yards. I mean, I don't think an ACC team like Virginia should be able to come into the Coliseum and do that to the defense, which is considered the strength of USC's team. So, you know, it's still early in the season.
Right.
Basically, there are going to be 2 byes almost the next 2 weeks with Minnesota and Washington State on the schedule. So those should be wins. But, you know, I'm just wondering right now what it is USC's really good at, what it is they're going to be known for this season.
Let's talk about the big elephant in the room is the penalties. And we saw some penalties today at practice. What needs to be done?
Well, you know, that's about discipline and coaching. Lane Kiffin has done a lot to kind of cut down on penalties during the year. He's had them run, he's punished them, and obviously it hasn't worked. They're probably the sloppiest team in America. Actually, they lead the nation in penalties right now with Arizona State. So nothing's really working. So this week his tactic is, I'm not going to say anything, and I'm going to hope it solves itself. And maybe it will. We'll see. But, you know, they're playing a bad team on Saturday, so maybe it won't matter how many penalties that they have.
Well, let's talk about that. I don't know if they're necessarily that bad a team. Okay, sure, they lost to, what was it, Middle Tennessee State?
No, South Dakota.
Well, they beat Middle Tennessee State, and they lost to South Dakota. Wow. Okay, well, they're not great, but, I mean, we still got to play them, and I don't think it's going to be that much of a blowout, actually. I mean, you have the QBs, 4 years. The guy, Dwayne Bennett, is great. Yeah, so 2 players can't really run a team, but, I mean, what do you think about them?
Well, they do have a good offense. I mean, they scored 38 points, even if it was South Dakota. So, you know, I think offensively they might be able to give USC a couple problems, and you know, maybe it could be a good game. I'd like to see a good game. You know, it's a new stadium, 50,000 people will be there. So it'd be nice to see a good game. And right now, I don't think USC can really overlook anybody. They're not so good right now that they can say we're just better than another team. They've got a lot of things they have to work on. Their offensive line was not physical enough against Virginia. Matt Barkley had he looked like actually last year's Matt Barkley, which is really disappointing. He looked great against Hawaii.
Everyone kept saying that. I think he had some good plays. Sure, you know, he didn't have any sacks, which is good. But, and you know that one
Don't
move.
forget, he did fumble the ball on 1 sack. That wasn't his fault that he got sacked, but that was a big play.
And that running play he did, that was pretty impressive.
The 20-yard run was good.
So, I mean, I don't know. I think everyone said that in the press conference, and I don't think he's exactly like last year. I think he's improved, and I think each week he's going to improve even more. So give him a little bit of credit there. But what are your predictions?
For the game? You know, I'm tempted to say it'll be a blowout, but I have a sneaky suspicion it might be a little closer than we all expect. Minnesota, I think, has a chip on their shoulder. They were embarrassed last weekend. They've got to do something to revive their program. So I think they have a lot to play for this weekend, and they might be able to make it a competitive game. What do you think?
I think Brewster's job is on the line, and I think he is completely, obviously, embarrassed. I read some reports, and he basically was just, you know, said in the media, like, I don't even want to talk about it. I'm stunned about what happened. I think 34-14 USC.
Okay.
So I think, I think the running game is going to get going a little bit with Minnesota, but I don't know. Those penalties worry me a little bit, I'm not going to lie.
Well, I'm going to let you pick the score because last week you said 21-10, and you were pretty close.
I was pretty close. I got to admit, I was proud of myself.
So that was a good pick on your part, so we'll see what happens this week.
Okay.
Just so you guys know, we picked a top secret location to do tonight's video. You know, there's so much media here because of the Reggie Bush Heisman scandal that we needed to be somewhere secluded where people wouldn't distract us. We don't want all the TV cameras.
Away from the madness.
Yeah, the bloggers, the internet geeks. Okay, yes, I have a blog, but I'm not an internet geek.
Wait, you're not an internet geek?
No, not an internet geek. I'm a newspaper reporter. Let's be clear about that, Whitney.
All right. I'm just going to nod and smile because I'm doing your video. For InsideSoCal.com/USC, I'm Whitney Blaine.
And I'm Scott Wolf.